Hello there, friend bots. Today I'm going to teach you how to set up and play the 2 to 5 player card game, Robots. Robots is a fun twist on the classic card game Rummy, but with robots and attacks to interact and interfere with your opponents. Will you try to build a robot for bonus points or become an offensive juggernaut wreaking havoc on your enemies? With many different ways to win, robots will have you laughing and maybe plotting revenge as the game unfolds. Setting up for a game of robots is fast and easy, consisting of little more than shuffling cards. To get started, find the 13 two-sided robot cards and set them aside. These cards have a unique robot on each card, along with their bonus points when played. Next, distribute the 3 power reference cards around the table. I'll describe how each power works in a bit. The remaining cards come in 5 suits. Each suit has 13 numbered cards ranging from 2 to 14, each number having a different robot like Squeaker or Cutie Cat. Along with the numbered cards, each suit has a star card. The star card may act as either a 1 or a 15 when playing spreads. The higher numbered cards all have a power. These powers will be activated when these cards are discarded during play. Lastly, there are 4 wild cards, which can be played in place of any number or star card. Identify the most technically inclined player to be the first dealer. I mean, after all, this is robots. Shuffle the numbered and star cards, the ones with the word robots on the back, and deal each player 7 cards face down. Place the remaining cards face down in the center of play within reach of all players. This is now the robot factory, and it'll act as a draw deck throughout the round. Flip the top card from the robot factory face up to start the scrap heap. The scrap heap is a communal discard pile of unused cards. And that's the setup. In robots, players will take turns dealing through multiple rounds trying to accumulate points. Players earn points by playing spreads of cards in runs or sets. The first player to reach 250 points wins. Play will start with the player to the dealer's left and continue clockwise with each player performing 3 phases during their turn, picking up 1 or more cards, playing spreads of sets and runs, and finally discarding a card from their hand onto the scrap heap. At the start of your turn, you must pick up at least 1 card. There are a few ways to do this. You may either draw a single face-down card from the robot factory, or you may pick up 1 or more face-up cards from the scrap heap, which could be risky or lead to big points. There is one rule when picking up more than 1 card from the scrap heap. The bottommost card, in this case the red 8, must be played on your current turn. Points are scored by laying down spreads in front of your play area. There are 2 types of spreads, and they must always contain at least 3 cards. The first type is a run. A run is 3 or more sequential cards of the same color, such as red, 2, 3, 4, or gray, 9, 10, 11. As stated earlier, the star may act as either a 1 or 15, but a run can't wrap around, so 14 star 2 isn't allowed, while star 2, 3 and 13, 14 star are acceptable. The other type of spread is a set. Sets are 3 or more cards of different colors, but the same value, such as purple, blue, and green 3, or gray, purple, and red star. If you collect all 5 colors of one robot, the ones with numbers only, not stars, you've built a robot and will be awarded bonus points at the end of the round. Spreads will remain on the play area for the remainder of the round unless a freaking laser beam blows them to smithereens. One last detail about playing cards. It is possible to play a card that extends another player's spreads. For example, you could play this 9 to extend the other player's 6, 7, 8, or play this 10 to add on to this player's 10s. This is permitted so long as you already have a spread of your own. Until you've played a spread yourself, extending other players' spreads is against the rules. One special rule to know about. On occasion, someone might absent-mindedly discard a card that extends a played set, sometimes even their own. When this happens, the first player to yell "Robots!" gets to pick up the discarded card. It's then played in front of the first person to shout "Robots!" scoring points, even if that player doesn't yet have any spreads. To the victor go the spoils. There are 5 powers in the game, with a variety of strategic uses. First is the recycle power. It's attached to the 10 of each suit, the robot called Inspector General, which makes sense as he's quite old. When discarded, you may pick up any card in the scrap heap other than the 10 you just discarded and place it in your hand. Next up is the extra parts power associated with the 11 of each suit. This power belongs to the creepy and experimental robot Project K11. Extra parts is a very powerful play as it helps you cycle cards through your hand. After discarding the 11, you'll draw 2 face-down cards from the robot factory. Then you must place 2 cards from your hand onto the scrap heap, including the newly drawn cards in your selection process. Discarding additional power cards allows you to perform extra actions. For example, discarding another Project K11 will permit you to, once again, draw 2 cards and then discard 2 from your hand. This chaining technique is a great way to build your hand into high-scoring spreads. You must resolve each follow-on power prior to discarding additional cards, so pay attention to your discard sequence. The tractor beam power is on the 12 of each suit, the Terraformer robot. The tractor beam sucks half of the scrap heap back under the robot factory, essentially removing these cards from play for the round. To calculate how many cards to remove from the scrap heap, count all of the discarded cards except the Terraformer. Divide this number in half, rounding up if necessary. Be careful to not disturb the sequence of the remaining scrap heap as you remove the cards and place them face down under the robot factory. On the 13 card is the force field power. The Sasquatch robot is a protective friend that prevents the next player from doing several things on their turn. The next player can't pick up any cards from the scrap heap, including blocking the recycle power, if they discard a 10. The extra parts power and tractor beam are unaffected by the force field, but you, and only you, as the player who discarded the force field, cannot be attacked with a freaking laser beam. The force field is only in effect for 1 turn, and only for the player to your left. Speaking of the freaking laser beam, it's attached to the 14 card, the imposing and weapon-wielding Decaton. This is where things get interesting and might bring about a few angry glares. When discarded, Decaton unleashes a devastating laser, targeting one other player's spreads. One card chosen by you, the person who discarded the 14, is removed from the spread, and, along with Decaton, are placed at the bottom of the scrap heap. Be sure the 14 is the bottommost card, and the sequence of the other cards is unmodified. If the blast causes the set to reduce to 2 cards, the attacked player must pick up those cards and place them back into their hand. Earlier, I mentioned how collecting all 5 colors of one robot gives you bonus points. One of the best ways to score big points, but also a difficult feat to accomplish, is building a robot. If you play all 5 colors of one number, for example, all the 9s, you've built the robot, giving you an additional 50 bonus points at the end of the round. Announce to all that you have built a robot. Your shiny new robot is impervious to attacks by freaking laser beams. A few things to remember. You can't build a robot with a wild card. Building a robot must only use the natural number cards. Also, you can't build a robot with the star cards. After all, they're stars, not robots, duh. Play continues clockwise until one player discards their final hand card. When this happens, the round is over. On occasion, you might play all of your hand cards into spreads on your turn, thus leaving you with nothing to discard. When this happens, you are what's called powered down. Play continues on to the next player to the left. On the start of your next turn, you must pick up a face-down card from the robot factory. If it plays into a spread or extends someone else's plays, then you must play the card and are, once again, powered down. If the card is unplayable, simply discard it and the round is over. One thing to note, if the final discard of the round has an action, nothing happens. The round ends on the final discard and the power is ignored. It's time to score the round. All cards played in spreads are positive points, while any cards remaining in your hand are negative. Subtract your hand card points from your spread points, and that's your total score for the round. Yes, it might be negative if you held on to a lot of high-value cards, but hopefully you scored some positive points to move you closer to victory. And remember, wild cards are worth 0 points. Did you build a robot? Be sure to add your bonus points to your round score. To make it easy, the total points for each constructed robot are on the 2-sided cards. This total includes both the points for each card, plus the 50 bonus points for your robot. It's just a shortcut to save some time doing math. There are different point values depending upon the cards played. Each card numbered 2 through 9 will score 5 points at the end of the round. Cards numbered 10 through 14 will score 10 points. And star cards will score 15 points regardless of whether they're used as a 1 or a 15 in a spread. In our example play here, we have 3 8s worth 5 points each, scoring a total of 15 points. A run of 4 cards, 11 through 14, which totals 40 points, 10 points each, and a run of 3 cards, star 2 3, which scores a total of 25 points, 15 for the star and 5 each for the low number cards. Designate one player as scorekeeper and write down each player's round score. Dealer duties rotate clockwise, and the next round commences with the first player always being the player to the left of the dealer. Be sure to swap back in any robot cards that were removed by building a robot during the round. That's it! You'll play several rounds depending on the number of players and the luck of the draw. The first player to reach or surpass 250 points wins. If multiple players surpass 250 points on the same round, the highest score wins supreme. If you have questions about anything you saw here, feel free to put them in the comments below and I'll gladly answer them as soon as I get a chance. Thanks for watching and enjoy playing robots.